Hey everyone, Chang here and welcome to my channel. This is the Bare Minimum Algebra series. We went through a lot of different things from finding the slope, finding the equation of a line, and now of course the next step is to find and graph the equation of a line. Now, to graph it probably is one of the longer number of steps, right? There's 5 steps in order to graph the linear equation or the equation of a line. The first one is that you need to put the equation in slope-intercept form. Now, slope-intercept form, the slope-intercept formula, hopefully you guys are familiar with it, is y equals mx plus b. Oftentimes, they will give you the equation in some jumbled combination such that it's not so easily presented, right? All you have to do to put it into slope-intercept form is to remember that you are solving for y and everything else is on the other side. Once you get y on one side and everything else on the other, basically, most likely, if everything is simplified, you will have y equals mx plus b, or in other words, slope-intercept form, right? That's the first step. The second step is to understand what b is. B is an intercept, more importantly, the y-intercept. So that means you have one of the points already, and that's going to be 0, b, whatever b is. Okay, now that's going to be important in the next few steps, right? For the third step, the number in front of the x, the m in front of the x, is the slope. Now, we know slope in a lot of different ways. There's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That is the slope formula. More importantly, it represents a change in the y-coordinate and a change in the x-coordinate. So, that's delta y over delta x. That's just a symbol for change. Now, what's important is what they mean. Delta y, basically the change in y, that number on top, right here, that tells you if you're going to move up or move down. So what that means is that you're going to start off with one point, 0, b, and if the delta y is positive, you're moving up. Okay? If the delta y is negative, you're moving down. So you will move up however much delta y is, and then delta x is moving left to right. If it's negative, you're moving to the left. If it's positive, you're moving to the right. So that's the key. You start off with one point, plot the point. You take your pen, pencil, whatever your writing utensil is. You move up or down, how much for y, and left or right, however much for x. And all of a sudden you have your second point. And it's going to hopefully make more sense when I go through an example on how to actually do that. But then once you get your second point, just by moving up however many, right however many, or down however many, left however many, depending on what the numbers are, right? You plot your second point. That's the fourth step. The final step, which is the easiest and the most lovely thing, is that if you have 2 points, and you just draw a line through it, that is your line. That is it. There's no possibility for mistake unless you messed it up on the first 4 steps, right? After you get to that, there you go, you would have your graph of the line that the equation presented you. So hopefully it's not as confusing. I think it will clarify a lot more if we just go over an example just to see where each and every one of those steps play out. All right, so let's just start off with this example. Fairly simple. This is an equation of a line. However, it's not written in a format that we really like. So our first step is to definitely write this in our slope-intercept form. Basically, once again, hopefully it's now ingrained in your memory. Y equals mx plus b. In other words, we need to solve for y. So I'm going to go over this very quickly. However, I do have a video step-by-step on how to solve for variables. So definitely look at that. All right, so here's why we want everything else on the other side. First, I'm going to get rid of the 3x because this is a minus. I'm going to add it on both sides, right? This goes away. Now I have basically 2y equals 3x plus 4. Okay, the last thing I need is to get rid of the 2 that's in front of the y. This goes away. Have to do it on the other side. Now I have y equals, and when you do this, a common mistake is that, oh, I'm just going to put it, divide one of them, divide 4. 4 looks like a nice one, and then forget about the 3. When you divide, you got to divide everything, right? So that means both of them. That's going to be 3 over 2x plus, and then it's going to be 4 divided by 2. which I'll write right here just for clarity's sake. That's just basically y equals 3x, or 3 over 2x plus 2. There we go. That's our first step. Right? We have it now in our slope-intercept form. The second step is to identify the fact that 0, 2, based on this 2 right here, is our first point. Okay, now this is where it can be tricky. Not really, but all right. Anyways, I want a graph. There's our graph. We start off with 0, 2. So in this case, that's going to be 1, 2 right here. And this next step, the third step, is where we're using the slope. This number up here is our delta y. This number down here is our delta x. Okay, notice that they're both positive. If you happen to have a situation, this one is nice because the fraction is right there. If it's a whole number, you can rewrite it as basically a fraction, right? If it's 4, you can rewrite it as 4 over 1, which is preferable. If you want to, torture yourself, make it some more complicated number, as in like 8 over 2, so on and so forth. Doesn't matter. Anyways, here's your delta x, or delta y, and here's your delta x. They're both positive, so that means for the y, we're moving up because it's positive. For the x, we're moving right because it's positive. So I'll go from here, starting here, and then I'm moving up 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm tentatively over here. Then for the x, I'm moving over to the right 2 times. 1, 2. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Right here, all of a sudden, this is my second point. I'm drawing a lot of arrows. Hopefully that doesn't make it more confusing. There's my second point. Okay, and if you really want to write it out, yeah, you can write out the coordinates as well. If your instructor or whatsoever require you to do that, that's fine. You moved over 2, and then this one you moved up 3. Originally was 2 already, so then you're going to add 3, so that's 5. This is your second point. Okay, that's only if your instructor really wants you to write it down. If not, and you just need a graph, no need to write that. Right, so you have these two, and then all you have to do is you just draw a line going through both of them. And there you go. That is your graph of a line. All right, so while I broke it down into 5 steps, hopefully it's not as confusing as it seems, not as scary as it seems. Each and every one of those are fairly simple. The key thing is that you need to remember the slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. M is the slope, b is the intercept. It's key to helping you graph, because guess what? That's exactly what you need to do. The first step, if it's not written already, you gotta put that equation in slope-intercept format. Basically, solve for y. Everything else is on the other side. Once you simplify it, everything is great. You isolate what is your b for a second step. The first point that you're gonna have is gonna be 0, b. 0 is your x-coordinate, b is your y-coordinate, that is the y-intercept. From there, you're going to jump to step number 3, using your slope. Slope in this case is going to be delta y over delta x. If it's a nicely written fraction, the top number is your delta y, the bottom number is your delta x, and then you know you're either going up if it's positive, down if it's negative, left if it's negative, right if it's positive for delta y and delta x. And then you go from your first point and then you go wherever for your second point. Once you get those 2 points, your final step, all you have to do is just draw a line that goes through both steps or both points, and then there you have it. Simple as that. Anyways, confusing or not, let me know. Thank you for watching this video. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you in the next video.